parents. I just saw a video about this, and it had literally never occurred to me that no one is talking about. We have not heard from or seen footage of anybody other than Erika and the freaking vice president and Usha anywhere involved in the city.
It started with a sound no one thought they'd ever hear again. Dave Chappelle's voice, low, unshaken, and carved with fire. In the heart of a sold-out Nashville crowd, he walked to the mic without a smile, without a joke. They didn't just stop believing in her, he said. They erased her. The air snapped. Silence wrapped the room like a shroud. Cameras rose. Within minutes, the digital world detonated because everyone knew exactly who he meant. Erika Kirk, the widow of conservative firebrand Charlie Kirk. The woman who had once stood like a monument to grief, loyalty, and loss. But Dave wasn't finished. He leaned in, eyes sharp under the spotlight, voice slicing through the dark. Charlie's family didn't cut her off over a scandal, he said. They cut her off because she lied to them, and the FBI made sure she got away with it. That single line ripped through the internet like a bullet. By the time blurry videos hit TikTok and Twitter, every major outlet had locked onto the story. What did Dave know? What did Erika hide? And why would the same family who built Charlie's empire exile her like stranger? Theories flooded timelines like a storm surge. Some called it just another swirl of viral chaos. But those close to the Kirks whispered something colder, something buried. Because this wasn't the first time someone had quietly suggested that the love story the world worshipped had already been rotting behind the scenes for months. Whispers had already been slithering through the cracks of country clubs, church pews, and conservative media boardrooms, the kind of whispers no one was supposed to repeat. Erika wasn't just estranged. She was exiled. Banned from every official Kirk Foundation event like her name had been carved out of history. And thanks to Dave, that shadowed truth had exploded into the light. Insiders say Dave hadn't planned to speak her name that night. But something snapped. Just days earlier, an unmarked flash drive, nicknamed the Phoenix Drop, had landed in his hands. Inside, hours of chilling recordings, encrypted text chains, and financial trails allegedly tying Erika to a hidden river of money. Legacy fund diversions, the files called it. A polished code for millions siphoned in silence right after Charlie's death. But the knife twist came in a single email, sent from a Kirk family account. No greeting, no emotion. Just, you're not family anymore. Stop using his name. Dave never had to say her name again. By sunrise, the internet had already cracked the puzzle the Kirks spent 2 years trying to bury. Erika's trust access gone. Foundation privileges frozen. Memorial invitations revoked. The same family that once held her hand at the funeral now acted like she never existed. And the world noticed. Her social media turned into a war zone overnight. Under a carefully staged photo of her clutching a Bible at sunrise, the comments poured in like gunfire. Why did Charlie's parents disown you? Dave exposed you. What did you lie about? The woman once seen as a grieving widow was suddenly standing alone, and the world was demanding answers. But Erika didn't speak. Not a word. Instead, her management slid out a carefully polished statement, wrapped in PR armor. We will not respond to unverified claims made by comedians seeking attention. But this wasn't comedy. It was a countdown. As night fell, the silence cracked open. Piece by piece, shards of Dave's explosive leak began surfacing like bones in shallow water. Anonymous accounts dropped screenshots of alleged emails between Erika and a private banker, one mentioning the quiet redirection of memorial funds, another hinting at federal protection agreements. And then came the text, the one that sent a tremor through the internet. A conversation, allegedly between Erika and a shadowy consultant. She wrote, his family doesn't understand what's really at stake. They think this is about money. That single line hit like a detonation. What was at stake? And just how deep did the betrayal run? Then came the twist no one saw coming. One of Charlie's longtime aides, a man who'd stood in the background for years, broke his silence. Speaking through a disguised voice on a podcast, he said, the Kirks found out too late. Charlie's mom was shattered. She told me Erika had been working with the very people who were supposed to protect him. After that, they shut everything down. Every account, every call, every door. The episode went nuclear, spreading like wildfire. And for the first time, the public dared to ask what the family had only whispered in the dark. Did Erika Kirk betray Charlie and the Kirk name itself? Dave Chappelle didn't flinch. In a follow-up interview, his voice was calm, almost too calm. You can call me crazy if you want, he said, but I've seen the receipts. They didn't cast Erika out because of gossip. They cast her out because, according to Dave, she joined the very machine that destroyed Charlie. She didn't fight it. She fed it. And with that, he dropped a bomb that tore the internet in two. One side rushed to defend her, painting Erika as a woman hunted since the day her husband died. The other side turned cold, pointing to the silence, the sudden cash flow, the whisper chains linking her to people who move power like currency. But beneath the chaos, one fact pulsed through every conversation like a heartbeat. Something had shattered between Erika and the Kirk family. And if the files were real, that fracture wasn't just betrayal. It was treason. Buried in the leaks, a whistleblower told independent journalist Laura Simons about a hidden transaction labeled Legacy Recovery, Internal Recompensation. The amount, 7 figures. The destination, a shadow shell company tied to a consulting firm in Washington, D.C., the same firm later named in the Snowfall leaks as a federal contractor under investigation. When that detail dropped, the internet froze. The implication wasn't vague. Erika Kirk hadn't just fallen from grace. She might have turned against the family that made her untouchable. And now, one question echoes across every corner of social media. Was Erika Kirk the grieving widow the world mourned with, or the quiet architect of a cover-up the Kirks finally decided to burn down from the inside? Dave says he already knows the answer. And if his final warning is real, the family didn't cut Erika off to punish her. They did it to survive her. This isn't a story about betrayal anymore. It's a war story. Because tonight, if the whispers inside the foundation are true, the Kirks haven't just erased Erika. They've declared war. Before Dave Chappelle's voice became the sound of revelation, the Kirk family was perfect. Or at least they looked that way. For years, the world saw them as America's most polished conservative dynasty. The family of faith, discipline, and purpose. Charlie Kirk was their crown jewel. Young, ambitious, magnetic, with a kind of influence that filled stadiums and shaped political conversations. His parents, Robert and Elizabeth Kirk, were old-school believers in legacy, faith, country. Family was their motto. And then came Erika. She was charming, photogenic, articulate the perfect match, at least at first. To the public, she was the devoted partner who grounded Charlie's firebrand energy. To the family, she was a PR blessing, a young, elegant Christian woman who brought warmth to Charlie's sharp edges. But inside the Kirk mansion, something else was brewing. A quiet unease that only grew stronger as Erika became more powerful. The beginning of the divide when Charlie and Erika married. His parents reportedly tried to include her in the family's financial planning. But within a year, she'd launched her own and-profit initiative, the Legacy Project, a charity inspired by Charlie's vision. The problem, it wasn't run through the family foundation. It was independent. That's when the first rift appeared. Family accountants noticed that donations meant for the Kirk Foundation were being redirected to Erika's project. Same donors, same mission statements, but the paperwork went to a different entity. At first, Robert Kirk brushed it off. She's ambitious, he told a colleague. Let her build something of her own. But Elizabeth, Charlie's mother, wasn't convinced. She once confided in a close friend at church. She's not building something of her own. She's building something that replaces us. Over time, Erika's tone changed, too. She started referring to the foundation as my husband's organization instead of our family's legacy. She began attending events without the Kirks, positioning herself as Charlie's spiritual and ideological successor. Her social media shifted from couple photos to solo brand shoots, motivational captions, and what one insider called strategic sanctimony. Then came the mysterious donors' names. I didn't recognize, but that Erika defended fiercely. One of them, according to leaked financial documents later exposed by Dave Chappelle, was a lobbying group with quiet government ties. And that's when Charlie began to change. The cracks in the Marin, his final year. Those closest to Charlie described him as frustrated but trapped. He still loved Erika, but he was beginning to suspect that the movement he built was no longer under his control. During one of his last private podcast sessions, never aired publicly, Charlie reportedly said, "The message has become something else. It's about clicks and control now. It's not about the people anymore." Few weeks later, he can led 2 major speaking appearances, citing mental exhaustion. But according to an aide who later spoke anonymously, the truth was darker. He told me he didn't trust the people running his foundation anymore, and he didn't trust Erika either. Those who knew Charlie described increasing tension between him and his wife. At one dinner event caught in a video that resurfaced months after his death, Erika can be seen whispering something to him before he abruptly stands up and leaves mid-spec. That same week, Erika moved $1 million in consulting fees from the foundation's operating account into a private trust. The family found out days later Elizabeth confronted Erika directly in what one witness described as a screaming match that ended with broken glass and slammed doors. No one knows exactly what was said that night, but the next morning, Erika and Charlie left the family estate without saying goodbye. They never returned. Charlie's isolation after that fallout. Charlie went silent. His final months were marked by paranoia and fatigue. Friends described him as haunted. Started keeping physical journals again, handwriting notes, instead of using email. Terrified that his digital communications were being monitored. In one entry later, leaked by a former staffer, he wrote, "Something isn't right. I built a ministry. They turned it into a market. Erika says the money is being managed, but I've seen the transfers. I don't know who's behind it anymore." That same week, his car's onboard computer system, a high-end, customized model, was reportedly serviced remotely. Less than 2 weeks later, he was dead in that same car. The official story, driver fatigue. The family never believed it. The aftermath of played her role flawlessly. In the public eye, she was composed, heartbroken, draped in black at the funeral. Her eulogy went viral. A trembling widow speaking of faith and resilience. But the family noticed what others didn't. She never once said his name. She referred to him only as my husband, the leader, the light. Robert and Elizabeth were devastated. But when the investigation into Charlie's foundation finances began months later, grief turned to fury. Auditors uncovered irregularities, missing assets, falsified invoices, unexplained consulting fees, all tied to Erika's trust network. Worse, some of those documents carried digital signatures matching emails from federal contractors. When the family confronted her privately, she didn't deny it. She reportedly said, "You don't understand. This goes higher than you." That was the moment Robert Kirk decided to cut all ties. He sent a legal notice revoking Erika's inheritance claims, foundation control, and family representation rights. Then he had the lawyers issue a formal statement, effective immediately. Erika Kirk is no longer affiliated with the Kirk family or its subsidiaries. The statement was never released publicly, but it leaked into the digital shadows, passed from staffer to journalist, from journalist to whistleblower, until it finally landed in Dave Chappelle's inbox. And that's when the story shifted from rumor to revelation. Dave didn't just see the papers. He saw the time stamps, the redactions, the attached FBI letterhead, and realized the cover-up went deeper than money. They didn't just cut her off, he said. They erased her trail so she couldn't erase theirs. The setup for betrayal era, meanwhile, began reinventing herself. She launched speaking tours, rebranded her image, and quietly aligned herself with think tanks that had once been on the FBI's corporate partner list. She presented herself as a woman of faith surviving loss. But behind the scenes, the family accused her of cashing in on tragedy. By the time Dave stepped in, the Kirks were already preparing for battle, hiring investigators, freezing trust assets, and working with insiders who claimed Erika had access to Charlie's encrypted Iron Vault drive before his death. It wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about containment. They thought she was a grieving widow, Dave said during one of his leaked rants. Turns out she was holding the password to their biggest secret. And that's when everything started to unravel again, because someone inside the bureau was watching. And Dave's leaks weren't just exposing Erika anymore. They were exposing everyone who'd ever protected her. The war began not with a press conference, but with a leak. Dave Chappelle, the man who had spent decades mastering the art of truth through laughter, dropped the jokes entirely. This time, he wasn't hiding behind punchlines. This time, he wanted the world to hear what the Kirk family had been trying to bury and what Erika had been praying would never surface. It started on a Thursday night. Dave posted a single clip on his private Telegram channel, a 9-minute audio file titled Legacy Call. Wave. No description, no hashtags, just a caption that read, "You'll hear her confess before you see her deny." The file spread like wildfire. Within an hour, it was mirrored on Reddit, 4chan, and encrypted forums around the world. But by the time the mainstream media caught wind of it, the damage was already irreversible. The recording began with the sound of typing, papers shuffling, and a muffled voice saying, "We can't risk another audit." Then a familiar tone. Erika's voice, calm, confident, but slightly nervous. The family doesn't understand how deep this goes. Charlie found things that were never meant to be seen. I told them to stop digging. I told them. Another voice, unidentified male, answered, "You did what you were told." He was compromised. "We handle it. Now you need to secure the legacy account before his parents find out." Pause. Then Erika again quieter. "They already suspect. Robert's been asking questions. If he connects the transfers to the FBI contract, we're finished." That's when Dave cut into the recording, his own voice echoing through the static. "Y'all hear that? She said the FBI contract. Now tell me again how this is about grief." The audience that first heard the leak described it as surreal. The sound of polite deception giving way to chilling clarity. It was the smoking gun the Kirk family had prayed would never see daylight. Within hours, news outlets were dissecting every second of it. Audio forensics confirmed the voices matched Erika's verified interviews and the known cadence of her private assistant who had worked directly with her financial team after Charlie's death by midnight. #LegacyCall was the #1 trend on Twitter. The internet split into factions. Team Erika claiming the clip was manipulated and Team Kirk demanding federal charges. But Dave wasn't finished. At 10:03 a.m., he dropped a second clip, this time labeled Legacy Call on 2. Wave. The file opened with a man's voice, older, trembling with rage. "You used our son's death to fund your games. We trusted you." It was Robert Kirk, Charlie's father. Erika's voice followed, breaking mid-sentence. "You don't understand. I was trying to protect him. They said if I didn't cooperate." Robert cut her off. "Cooperate with who?" Erika whispered something inaudible, then the sound of a phone being slammed down. The clip ended. The silence that followed online was louder than any scream. It wasn't just a rift anymore. It was proof of a family torn apart by fear, deception, and federal manipulation. Dave went live immediately after dropping the second file. "This ain't about politics. This ain't about loyalty. This is about a man who tried to tell the truth and a family who realized too late that the person they trusted most was feeding his enemies." Within minutes, his live feed hit 4.7 million viewers. People were crying, yelling, dissecting every phrase. Someone slowed down the clip and found what sounded like Erika whispering, "I made a deal." A deal with who? That question became the center of global speculation of global speculation. Insider sources began contacting journalists. One former aide to Erika revealed that shortly after Charlie's death, she met privately with 2 unnamed federal agents to discuss the safe handling of sensitive materials. The aide also mentioned that Erika's foundation received a security compliance grant that same month worth $2.30 million. The connections were undeniable. By morning, the Kirk family released an official statement. The materials recently exposed by Mr. Chappelle confirm what we have long known but could not say. We mourn the loss of our son and the betrayal that followed. Our family is pursuing legal action against all involved. It was the first time Robert and Elizabeth Kirk had spoken publicly since cutting Erika off, and it was a declaration of war. Meanwhile, Erika disappeared. Her publicist canceled all appearances, and her official website redirected to a blank page with the message "service unavailable." But she wasn't hiding. 12 hours later, a private video surfaced on her verified Instagram. It lasted exactly 60 seconds. Her face was pale, her voice trembling, but her words were ice. Dave Chappelle doesn't know what he's playing with. The files he has were never meant for him. They were part of an internal operation to protect national interests. If he keeps releasing them, people will get hurt, including him. The internet froze. Was it a threat, a warning, or a confession? Dave didn't wait to find out. He went live again that same night, shaking his head, cigarette in hand, muttering, "You don't threaten a man who's already told the truth. You can't silence me when the world's already heard you confess." He reached for a folder on his desk, labeled the redemption files. "You thought that last call was bad," he said, eyes burning into the camera. "Wait till you hear the one she made to them." Then he played it. The call began, with an automated tone, a government line. Then Erika's voice, urgent, terrified. "It's out. He found the backups. Dave has them. What do I do?" A male voice replied calmly, "Stay quiet. Discredit him. We'll handle the Kirks." A feed cut out. And for the first time, even defenders went silent. Within hours, Twitter exploded with #FBI Erika trending #1 globally. Independent journalists were demanding congressional hearings. Federal agents were seen arriving at Erika's former office building. DOD Dave simply posted one line to his account. Before disappearing again, I told you they didn't cut her off. They cut her loose. The meaning was clear. The Kirk family didn't exile Erika to punish her. They exiled her to distance themselves from a federal operation. And if Dave was right, Charlie's death wasn't an accident. And Erika's loyalty wasn't to her husband, but to the people who made him disappear. That was the twist no one saw coming. The Kirk Soft family wasn't hiding Erika anymore. They were hiding from her. And if the leaks were true, then Dave Chappelle had just exposed the most powerful widow in America as the final link between family, federal power, and the system that silenced the man she loved. The aftermath of Dave Chappelle's legacy calls leak didn't just ripple, it detonated. By dawn, the story had gone far beyond the tabloids, far beyond politics. It was now a matter of national security. The FBI officially labeled the leaks classified digital contraband. News outlets were ordered to remove the recordings under the Espionage Act. Journalists who refused found their servers mysteriously locked. And yet, no one could stop the spread. The clips were everywhere, encoded into memes, embedded in TikToks, shared in private groups, and encrypted forums. Erika's voice, once soft and persuasive, now echoed across the internet like a ghost. They said, if I didn't cooperate, people didn't need to hear the rest. They knew. But while the Bureau scrambled to contain the fallout, Erika herself reappeared, not as a victim, not as the crying widow the public had grown used to, but as a fighter. She emerged through a professionally shot video uploaded to her YouTube channel titled The Truth About Dave Chappelle. The thumbnail showed her seated in a minimalist white studio, Bible open in her lap, eyes red but defiant. The caption beneath read, "They think they can rewrite history, but only God knows the full truth." When she spoke, her voice was calm, rehearsed, but there was a tremor hiding beneath the polish. I love Charlie more than life itself, she said. But he was not a saint. He was reckless. He made mistakes. He trusted the wrong people. She paused, staring into the camera with practiced grief. Dave Chappelle is using my husband's death to build a conspiracy. Those calls were taken out of context, spliced together by people who want to destroy my faith, my work, and everything Charlie and I built. Sounded convincing for about 5 minutes. Then the screen flickered. Midway through her monologue, the video cut to a distorted version of her own voice. Not from a studio, but from one of Dave's leaked recordings. You don't understand. This goes higher than you. The footage stuttered, froze, and then resumed with Erika's horrified expression as she realized the broadcast was being hacked live. The hackers overlay read, "This is not Dave. This is the truth." Within seconds, the entire video was pulled offline, but the damage was irreversible. Millions had already recorded the hack. Twitter and Reddit erupted with hashtags like #ErikaExposed, #TheRioHawk, and most chillingly #CharlieDidn'tDieForno. The next morning, the FBI made an even more bizarre move. They subpoenaed Erika Kirk. According to leaked documents, the Bureau claimed her communications contained unauthorized federal materials, implying that she herself had access to sensitive files. In other words, the same agency she allegedly cooperated with was now turning on her dot. And that's when Dave resurfaced. A new video appeared on his previously deactivated YouTube channel titled Charlie's Real Legacy. Dave sat in near darkness, cigarette smoke curling around him, a single file folder in his lap. He looked exhausted but alive. "I didn't plan to keep doing this," he began. "But when I saw her try to rewrite him, I knew I had to finish it." He opened the folder and held up a single printed photo, a black and white image of Charlie Kirk shaking hands with a man whose face was partially obscured. This, Dave said, is who Charlie was meeting before he died. The internet froze. Dave leaned closer. The Bureau said it was a car accident. But this man here, his name's Agent Keller, federal contractor. The same guy who shows up in the transaction records for Erika's foundation. The same man who signed off the grant that wired money from Charlie's account 3 days before the crash. He placed the photo on the table and revealed a second image. A scan of a document marked Polaris level access. You see this Polaris? That's not a myth. That's a task force. A digital propaganda program the FBI used to seed narratives into social media using influencer networks. He took a long drag from his cigarette, and Charlie found out he was part of it. The screen cut to static, then resumed. Dave continued. Charlie wanted to expose how they were using faith-based media to manipulate people. He recorded everything. He uploaded it to what he called the Iron Vault. Erika knew she was supposed to protect it, but instead she gave them access. That's why his car crashed. That's why they erased her. That's why the family cut her off. Then Dave dropped the final bombshell. A piece of audio that no one had ever heard before. It was Charlie's voice. Weak, shaken, recorded days before his death. If anything happens to me, look at Erika's emails. The foundation isn't what it seems. And if the FBI gets to her first, the truth dies with me. The file ended with the faint sound of Charlie whispering, "Tell them it wasn't an accident." The world lost its mind. Twitter melted under the weight of millions of posts. TikTok filled with clips of fans crying, chanting Charlie knew. Protesters gathered outside federal buildings demanding answers. And then, just as the chaos peaked, Erika disappeared. Her mansion in Arizona was found empty. Her phone wiped. Her car abandoned near a private airfield. Rumors flew she'd fled the country. She'd been taken into witness protection. She'd been silenced. No one knew. But that same night, at exactly 11:59 p.m., a new message appeared on Dave's channel. No video, no sound, just text. The truth doesn't vanish. It uploads itself. Moments later, a new file began uploading to his feed labeled Iron Vault _overt. The file size over 300 gigabytes. The caption, "Everything Charlie found unedited." And then, just as it reached 99%, the screen went black. A red warning filled the feed. Stream interrupted by federal order. And underneath, in small letters that made every viewer's heart stop. Small letters that made every viewer's heart stop. Erika is in custody. Do not continue. But the message didn't end there. For just 1 second, the screen flickered, and across the static appeared a single line of handwriting. It was Charlie's there. Not protecting America, they're protecting her. But then the feed vanished completely by the next sunrise. The world wasn't asking if the Kirk story was real. They were asking how far it went. Every timeline, every headline, every live broadcast was consumed by the fallout of Dave Chappelle's final upload. The words Iron Vault _overt were everywhere, whispered in coffee shops, trending on TikTok, and flashing across cable news tickers like a code name for apocalypse. Even before the FBI could suppress it, fragments of the upload began leaking through mirror sites. People described the data as half emails, half nightmare confidential briefings, handwritten notes, and a list of influencers labeled faith-based control assets. At the top of that list, Erika Kirkda. The revelation hit harder than anyone could have imagined. The woman once held up as a symbol of Christian virtue had become the centerpiece of a nationwide scandal connecting religion, politics, and digital manipulation. The public churches divided overnight. Pastors who'd once quoted Erika's speeches now denounced her as a false prophet. Devout followers posted videos of themselves burning her books. Mega-church leaders went silent. On social media, believers split into factions. The Redeem who claimed Erika was framed, and the Legacy faithful who stood with Charlie's parents and vowed to reclaim the message. But it wasn't just religious circles that imploded. Mainstream news outlets CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all hosted emergency panels. Reporters tried to make sense of the chaos, their voices trembling as they read aloud excerpts from the Iron Vault. Asset designated E. Kirk authorized for narrative integration into Project Polaris compliance, status active. And beneath that line, another note: if exposure risk increases, pivot to martyrdom narrative. Audiences across America gasped. The memo wasn't just documentation. It was a blueprint, a literal plan to transform a public figure's death or downfall into a unifying emotional event. Online, people began stitching together screenshots, videos, and old speeches of Erika's, overlaying them with a caption. Was this all scripted? Within hours, #RojectPolaris trended across every major platform. Meanwhile, Dave Chappelle had vanished again. His account remained dark. No one knew if he was hiding, detained, or worse. But his words from a final stream were still circulating like wildfire. The truth doesn't vanish. It uploads itself. Okay, now the world was starting to see what he meant because new files from the Iron Vault were surfacing, not from Dave, but from ordinary users. The data was self-replicating. Each time someone tried to delete it, it reappeared somewhere else, attached to random photos embedded in social posts, even hidden in website Data. It was as if Charlie's truth had become a living entity. Impossible to bury, impossible to silence. Hollywood media and politics melted. Then came the celebrity reactions. Kanye West tweeted, "Told y'all faith was business." Elon Musk posted, "The Iron Vault looks like the biggest leak since Snowden." Candace Owens, Charlie's former ally, broke down crying on her podcast. "I trusted Erika. I thought she was one of us. But if these files are real, she used all of us. Even mainstream entertainers couldn't ignore it. The Daily Show aired an entire episode about the scandal. But halfway through the broadcast, the network went off the air for 6 minutes. The official explanation: signal interruption. Then Fox News anchor Jesse Waters claimed live on air that one of the Iron Vault emails mentioned media partners inside major conservative networks, implying they had collaborated with the Polaris operation. His broadcast ended abruptly. When the feed returned, he was gone, replaced by a technical difficulties screen. About the industry panic was total executives at major studios began issuing private memos warning employees to avoid discussing the Kirk-Chappelle matter publicly. Even Netflix, which had produced 8 TV specials, quietly removed several of his older shows from their homepage. That same day, a new post appeared on the dark web. A screenshot of a legal notice signed by Erika Kirk's attorneys. It read, "The client no longer acknowledges ownership or participation in the organizations previously known as the Legacy Project, the Kirk Foundation, or any entity associated with Project Polaris. All statements or data claiming to originate from her are unauthorized." But it was too late. A counter-upload appeared minutes later, showing a new video of Erika, one she'd never released. She looked terrified, filmed in what appeared to be a hotel room. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I thought I was protecting him. I thought if I played along, they'd let him live." She looked off-screen, tears falling, then added one final line before the clip cut out. "They said, if I didn't sign, they'd make it look like an accident." The clip ended there. No timestamp, no metadata, but everyone recognized what she was referring to. Charlie's crash. It became the most watched clip in the world within 8 hours. Global after Oasis came Washington. Congressional hearings were announced within days. The FBI's director denied any knowledge of Project Polaris. But leaked emails from whistleblowers painted a different picture. One message read, "Containment priority is compromised. Public narrative control no longer viable." The Bureau wasn't just losing control. It was unraveling across the country. People gathered in what became known as truth vigils. Massive candlelight protests demanding transparency about Charlie's death. Thousands carried signs that read, "Dave was right and Charlie's voice lives." And the Kirk family, they came out of hiding. Robert and Elizabeth Kirk released a televised statement. Their faces somber, their voices shaking. "We loved Erika as our own, but she chose to protect the machine that destroyed our son. We thank Mr. Chappelle for his courage, and we stand with every American demanding answers." It was the first time they'd spoken publicly since the scandal began. But their reappearance didn't calm the chaos. It intensified it because hours after the broadcast, a hacker group known as the Phoenix Code posted a chilling update. There's one final file left. The one that Charlie encrypted under Erika's name. The one even Dave didn't see. They called it the Widow Archive. The group claimed it contained the true story of Charlie's final hours. A message that would clear his name and damn the people who used him. Governments began racing to track the hackers down. But the internet had already made up its mind. The Widow Archive was coming, and nothing could stop it. All eyes turned to one man, the one who started it all, Dave Chappelle. Because if he was still alive, everyone knew what he'd do next. He'd drop the final file. And when he did, the world would never be the same. The night the Widow Archive dropped, the world held its breath. Every major news network had gone dark. Twitter feeds glitched, hashtags vanished, and anonymous countdowns began appearing on every major platform. A red timer ticking down from 1 hour labeled the last upload. At 11:59 p.m., the countdown hit 0. A single phrase appeared across millions of screens from the Iron Vault of Charlie Kirk, the Widow file. No one knew where it was coming from. Cybersecurity experts couldn't trace the IP. Some thought it was Dave. Others whispered that it was Cassandra, the same AI system Charlie had tried to expose. Finishing what he started, the video opened to static, then to a familiar face. Charlie Kirk. But this wasn't the confident, polished speaker the world remembered. His eyes were tired. His voice cracked. He looked like a man who'd seen something that broke him. "If you're watching this," he began, "then they've already made it look like an accident." The crowd of millions watching online gasped. "I found out what they're doing with our platforms," Charlie continued. "Faith, politics, influence. It's not random. They're testing emotional manipulation through media. They're using us preachers, podcasters, influencers as variables in a digital experiment. And the worst part, my wife knows." I swallowed hard, almost trembling. Erika's not the villain. She's the connection. They promised to protect us if she played along. But when I refused to sign, they told her they couldn't protect me anymore. He leaned closer to the camera. She thought she was saving me. She didn't know they were saving themselves. The screen glitched. Static swallowed half his face. His next words barely came through the distortion. They call it Polaris. It's run through the bureau. If you hear that, word run. Then suddenly another voice cut in. Cut in. Erika's Charlie, please. They said stop talking. You knew Erika. He shouted. You knew they'd kill me. The audio fractured, screaming, then silence. The screen went black for 20 full seconds. Nothing moved. Then text appeared. This file was scheduled to upload 2 years after subject's death, and beneath it a handwritten signature. E. Kirk, the world stopped. Had Erika uploaded the file herself? The implications were staggering. If she had, it meant she'd known all along what was coming. She hadn't just been complicit. She'd planned to release it after her own silence. Within minutes, chaos erupted again. Live streams flooded YouTube. Theories exploded across Reddit. Was Erika trying to redeem herself, or was this another manipulation by the same forces Charlie had tried to warn everyone about? Then at 12:13 a.m., Dave Chappelle went live for the first time in weeks. His feed was dim, his voice raw. That wasn't me, he said. I didn't upload that, but I've seen that clip before. Charlie sent it to me the week before he died. Exhaled, rubbing his face. He told me Erika was going to release it herself, but only after she disappeared. The chat exploded. Viewers begged for answers. Was Erika alive? Where was she? Dave just shook his head. She's not gone. She's off-grid. They didn't silence her. They moved her. The FBI didn't arrest her. They extracted her. She's still working with them. He leaned forward, whispering, You think the Widow Archive was the end? That was the trigger. Then Dave reached for a flash drive and held it up to the camera. Written on it in blue ink, Polaris reset. Charlie's last upload wasn't about Erika. It was about what comes after. This is the file that decides who controls the narrative forever. The chat froze. Thousands of people watched in stunned silence as Dave inserted the drive into his laptop. The screen flickered, then cut to black. For a few seconds, only the faint sound of typing could be heard. Then a mechanical voice, eerily calm, spoke through the speakers. Upload acknowledged. Polaris restoration in progress. Dave's expression changed instantly. Panic. No. That's not supposed to. Before he could finish, the stream collapsed into static. A new line appeared on the black screen. Typed letter by letter, Polaris online. Narrative reboot initiated. Then silence. Moments later, every major platform, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, glitched simultaneously. Posts vanished. Headlines rewrote themselves. News archives reset. Search results for Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk, Dave Chappelle, even Project Polaris all returned one identical response. No data found. And then the final image appeared across every device, every screen, every channel. A grainy video of Charlie smiling softly. If you're hearing this, he whispered, you're already part of the reset. The screen faded to black, and the world once obsessed with finding the truth realized it's too late, that the truth had found them first. And now, after everything, the leaks, the crashes, the betrayals, the resets, we're standing exactly where Charlie warned we'd end up. A world where truth itself has no memory. They didn't just bury the story. They erased it. Charlie, Erika, Dave. 3 names that once dominated every headline are now digital ghosts. The files are gone, the articles rewritten, and the world's collective memory rebooted. But you remember, don't you? That means the reset isn't complete yet. Because if you can still hear Charlie's voice whispering, they're not protecting America, they're protecting her, then the story isn't over. The Iron Vault still exists somewhere out there, hidden across mirrored servers, encrypted drives, and the fragments that live in the minds of those who refuse to forget. You're one of them now. So, here's your call to action. Don't just watch. Don't just scroll. Document. Record this video. Share it before it disappears. Re-upload it under a new name, a new thumbnail, a new identity, because every repost keeps the memory alive. And every memory fights the machine that wants silence. Comment below. You think Erika planned Charlie's message, or was she trying to stop it? Do you believe Dave is gone? Or do you think he's still out there hiding, waiting to release Polaris? Reset one final time. Your theories aren't just opinions anymore. They're evidence. Hit that like button if you refuse to let this story die. Subscribe if you want the next piece before they find it first, because Aruma has it. There's one last file. Something buried inside the FBI's own server, labeled OMGA Legacy. Some say it's the fail-safe Charlie built the code that can shut Polaris down for good. Others say it's something worse. A digital confession written by the AI itself. Whatever it is, the countdown's already started. And if the reset began with them, maybe the resistance begins with you. So stay awake, stay aware, and remember Charlie's last words, the ones they tried hardest to delete. The truth doesn't vanish. It uploads itself because somewhere out there, it's still uploading. It's still uploading.